Hey YouTube! So a little bit of a life update slash you can already see by the title. I'm going on a small business journey of my own, and I really wanted to take you guys along for the ride. I wanted to document it for myself because you can kind of get swept up in the learning and the flow of the process. So I really want to be able to look back on it and watch things evolve. But yeah, here we are at the beginning. I'm going to take you guys back a few weeks. We're at the beginning of my small business journey. So I was working for a company called Noom for about 2 years, and then I decided in May of 2020, so it's, or 2022. Whoa. God, we're not back in 2020. 2022. And I decided to leave the nest. So I went from full-time health coach to, and full-time stay-at-home mom to just stay-at-home momming. And that wasn't really fulfilling me in the way that most people experience it or would expect to experience it. So yeah, I was in a little bit of a rut, and then I got the opportunity for a space at the mall. We have a family friend who's actually the general manager at the mall, and he asked me if I would want to take a look at the spaces because he knows that I do body sculpting, and he thought it might be a cool addition to the mall. So I go look, and I really like a spot. Really, this is step one already. Step one in small business journeys is to just start having these ideas, start having these downloads, and start just envisioning what you want your business to look like, right? So I went there really with no intention of actually starting a business there. Well, downloads started hitting me. I got the business name, I got t-shirt ideas, I got different class ideas, different events, and all this stuff just started coming to me, right? So I was like, okay, things are flowing, things are organic, I'm just gonna go with it and see where it takes me. So excuse me. So that was step one. I started envisioning, I started realizing what maybe I could do with this and what was coming to me. And then since I had the business name come to me, I started securing the domain, I started securing the Instagram, the Facebook, the email. I got a Google Voice account or whatever with that email. So then I got a business phone number, which it rings to my phone, or texts come to my phone. So that's a gem that I learned about in one of my classes, that not a lot of people have heard of, or not a lot of people that I've talked to have heard about it. So maybe that's a gem to pick up right there. But hopefully there's a gem already in step one for you. But anyway, so that leads me to step two, which once you have your business idea, you need to start exploring the certifications, the licenses needed in your state, right? So seller's permits, state and federal EIN, your business entity filings, things like that. They're going to be very specific to your business. Start exploring those, seeing what's required. Step three, since I had all of these ideas flowing to me, I started just putting them out there, right? I got a free version of Photoshop, and I can't say I threw them on, but I almost did. Like, it felt so natural, and I'm not a natural at Photoshop whatsoever. But but I also did use it's a website called defont.com. I'll put it below right here. And that is what I use to get free fonts to download. So you download them for free, and you get to just scroll through and find one that fits your aesthetic. So that's kind of cool. I learned that too. And all of this is stuff that I'm learning, so I don't know why I'm saying that. But yeah, so I used that, and then I also discovered this app called Photo Room, and that basically takes away the background and leaves the object in the picture, and you can make the background transparent or whatever, or white or black or whatever, and it's a lot like Canva. And that's also free, or I use the free version anyway to do what I did. So yeah, we're going the cheap route here, folks. But yeah, so as I was doing the design on Photoshop, I thought I would just mention I used 1080 by 1080 at 300 pixels, and I sent those PDFs over to the print shop that I wanted them to be printed at, and the proofs came back really good. So it all depends on what it is that you're doing, but those are just the I want to say coordinates. Those are just the standards or whatever that I used. You know, play around with it, definitely YouTube it, Google it, whatever you got to do to figure out what size and pixels you need. I just totally winged it, to be honest with you. Step 4, I started exploring the local print shops around here. I already had, I explored the vendor a little bit. I already had the brand of clothing that I wanted it to be printed on in mind, so I just needed to find a vendor for that brand. But some people don't know the brand, so search for the vendor, search locally, search online. I know Alibaba is a vendor that, not a vendor, but like a search, it's not a search engine either, a source for finding vendors. And I know a lot of people use that, so Alibaba may be something you are friendly with or want to get friendly with. And there are a lot of options, so just go ahead and look on TikTok, look on YouTube, and just explore. This whole thing is exploration, so there's really no right or wrong way to do it. So that's just what I did. I found where I want to bring my logo for the decals for above my store, for signs, for decals on the windows. And I took note of the estimates that they gave me, the quotes that they gave me for those big prints that I need, or yeah, I guess they're prints, vinyl cutouts. And you'll want to make note of all of the expected expenses, because that's something that you're going to need to know for your business plan. It's basically the startup cost. So it'll help you get an idea of what you have to put into your business to start it up and what loan you might need to take out. So make sure you have that information up here. Actually, just write it out. Don't keep it up here because you won't remember. It's a lot. It's a lot of just numbers and adding and what have you. So another thing with the startup things to keep track of, figure out the equipment that you need or that you have for your business. That equipment will be able to be listed as collateral. So like when you are getting your loan, if you're not able to pay it, like your business goes under or something, you can use, for example, I have body sculpting equipment. I can use the body sculpting equipment as collateral because that's something that I already own. They could take it if I can't pay it. See how that works? You guys probably aren't that new, but yeah, that leads me to step 5. Since I'm personally renting a space, there are questions to ask when you're renting a space, whether it is, you know, an online space or a physical space. In my case, the physical space, there were questions that needed to be asked, and maybe some questions that I didn't ask that should have been asked. But the important questions that I did ask that I found to be useful thus far is obviously what's rent, right? So we need to know what rent is. One thing I found out was that some contracts you can do a percentage of your profit, or you could do a flat rate. Some places it's just a flat rate, some places it's just a percentage, or whatever. So but if they're saying, oh, we do a flat rate of $400, you could be like, oh, well, could we do like 10% of my profit? My estimates are this, and da da da. You can share your projections and whatever. That's stuff that you get into in your business plan too. So that's stuff that you can share when you're ready to sign a contract. You have your business plan, you know what you are projecting, what your estimates are. So just things to consider when you're agreeing on a contract. Know your worth. And then also utilities. Is there a utility deposit? Is there a rent deposit? Me personally, I think the rent deposit was like $300 and the utility deposit is like $1,000. There's also property insurance for me, and I think that's like $50 a month, give or take. So yeah, property insurance is something that you might need to consider if it's a physical space. You can also get an average monthly cost for like utilities too, just to kind of know what you're up against monthly. Is it doable, right? So then I started talking to our local EDC representative. It's a building. It's called the Economic Development Commission. The general manager at the mall pointed me to them because they like literally hold entrepreneurs' hands into the small business world. And I mean, she does just that. Like, this girl, I love her. So anyway, step one, after meeting her and telling her what my certifications were and all of that stuff, she sent me home after the first meeting with a business plan template. And so we went over the questions. I kind of knew, I knew what to expect going home, what I would have to answer, and I didn't have any answers like whatsoever going home. I was like, this is gonna take me forever. It took me, I gave myself until the end of that week to have it done. Because I was like, I'm not gonna sit and spend a bunch of time on this. Like, I mean, do spend time on it, but like, I'm not gonna sit and overthink it, is what I'm saying. Because when you do that, you're holding yourself back. You're blocking yourself because your self-doubt and everything. So anyways, I was just like, I'm gonna just go and I'm gonna put what I think and then see what she says, And I did my research online and everything that I needed to answer the questions, made the phone calls that I needed to. And I actually, other than like a couple things, just to clean up my business plan, it looked good. So all I had to do, one thing that I didn't realize when I was writing it was that I would switch from I statements to third-party sentences. So I had to pick one or the other to stay consistent, and so I picked third-party sentences. That's totally a preference thing. You can do one or the other. Just make sure that you don't do both to make it, keep it consistent, keep it professional looking. Another thing that I found helpful with the business plan writing was using Google Docs, because that was such an easy way to share it with the representative that I work with, and a super easy way to save it and stuff. So to each their own, though. I know everybody has their own preference with that too. So step 7, which is also step 2 with EDC, after I had my business plan completed, we started exploring business banking, and so that was on me. I had to explore the different banking options that I have. I personally have years of a relationship with a bank through loans and whatnot, so I had them in consideration, and then I had to compare them with other banks a little bit more local. That one's like an hour away. I personally like local banks versus online banking options, but again, to each their own. Feel free to look into whatever you feel fits your needs. There are plenty of online options that are like loaded with benefits, And it really had me questioning if I should go the online route, but I know myself and I know like I'm just trying to keep things local. So anywho, do your research on that. Pick one that you find fits your needs the best. One thing that I noticed with like the online ones, a lot of them will sync to like QuickBooks, Shopify, and Stripe and things like that. So something to look into with your local banks too. Maybe they're able to do the same thing. Also, local ATMs were like really important to me. Some people maybe not, but that would be a question to ask yourself or ask a banker. Let's see. So another thing, a really important thing, is minimum requirements. So is there a minimum for a checking account, a business checking account? Is there a minimum for a business savings account? How many accounts can you have? Can you have multiple checking accounts or multiple, the savings accounts, and name them different things? So you can have like a, like money in and out one where you're paying bills or, bringing money in. And then your savings account for like a rainy day, and then maybe another checking account to put your taxes in. That's a whole other thing that I learned about that I'll probably talk more about in the second video when I get to that step. But at this point here, it's Sunday and I haven't opened my business bank account yet. That will be this week. So yeah, that'll be for another video. But let's see, autopay. Autopay was another thing that I learned. Some banks autopay can be, it can be a fluctuating amount. Other banks autopay has to be the same amount a month or it can't be on autopay. The bank that I go through calls it auto bill, and that can fluctuate, but autopay cannot. So that's an interesting one that I ran into. And another thing would be for loans to search the current interest rates to see, that will be a really important thing, that you don't really want to open your business account and then realize that you chose a bank that has like extremely high interest rates for your loan. So doing that ahead of time to make sure that like overall it's a good fit, not just the checking and savings portion of it, but just overall it's what you need. And I highly suggest scheduling a call with a banker who specializes in small business loans and business accounts, because it just like organically more questions start coming up for you and you start, realizing things that you maybe didn't know before. It becomes more of an organic conversation. Plus it's a great way to build a relationship with a banker there. So, also, along with that though, the websites do have a lot of information on them to answer a lot of these questions. So definitely go on the website first before you schedule that call, so you have some background information. You just don't start asking questions that you could have found the answer for yourself. Do your research and then schedule the call. And then finally, step 8 for this video was EDC step number 3. That's what I just did this past week. I registered for my LLC. I got my state filings in order, state tax filings, and I received my EIN. This is all through the Secretary of State website and the Department of Revenue. And again, my EDC rep was like super helpful, held my hand through all of it. It was all very self-explanatory, but she got me to the website and navigated it for me and stuff so I could fill it out. But overall, it was really quite easy. So it is something that you can definitely do on your own. You don't need an EDC rep or, someone to hold your hand through it. But it is nice to kind of have that backup when you're like, okay, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, that's me. So that's all I have for today. I'm like in a whirlwind, to be honest with you. It's been a crazy few weeks, and I just feel I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's in store, and I'm grateful to have the information where I can give it to you guys too. And hopefully I left some gems along the way here today where you can pick those up, and yeah, I can help you along your journey too. Go ahead and drop a like, comment. I'd love to hear what your business ventures are right now. I'd love to hear anything that you'd want to like hear about more in depth, or like the business plan. That's one that like always went over my head, or the finding a vendor. I don't know, just anything that you guys want to hear more in depth. I'm totally down, so just let me know. And go ahead and subscribe. I promise I'm gonna get more fluent in these in these videos, but I wanted to get this out to you guys. I don't have like an intro or anything yet, so it's all very amateur, but I don't know, I had the information and I was like, well, hopefully somebody else can use it, and I felt called to just get it out there, whether it's like YouTube official or not. So I am extremely grateful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I am just I'm so grateful. I wish nothing but blessings on blessings on blessings for you.